Well, we're getting ready to throw the starter on here. Kind of cleaned it up. The water pump on and harmonic balance pulley and a couple other things here. Figured I'd pass on a starter wiring trick that I learned 25 years ago. Basically, what I do on all my Chevys is they're wired like a Ford. That's a solenoid for the starter on the firewall that I put there. See the black wire on the bottom left? That's the other little wire that used to run down to the starter. So after you do this, all you have to do is have your main cable running down to the starter. There is no other wires that run down to your starter, just like how a Ford is. Once I started doing this and a guy showed me, I've never gone back the other way. Every Chevy I've ever gotten, that's the first thing I do is wire the starter this way. It's so much easier because you don't have the other one or two wires going down there. So you take your battery, you got your positive here, and that was hooked to the left side of the solenoid there. And then on the bottom left there, you got the black wire that used to run to the little post on the starter solenoid on the starter itself. That ran to this little guy right here, that black wire there. Now it runs up there, and then you got your 12-volt signal feeding the solenoid to activate the solenoid. So then on the other side of the solenoid, that cable there, that's what runs down and hooks to my starter. And there's several things I like about it. For one, if you're replacing your starter, if it's wired this way, you don't got to disconnect the battery as per se. There's no juice on this end of the cable unless you turn the key on and try to start it. So this side's always dead right out the gate. And then once you got headers and stuff, it's just so much easier only having this one cable. So I swear it throws a little more juice at the starter, but I've had a couple old timers tell me I was full of shit. So who knows about that? Personal opinion. So you take that other wire though, you go there, you got your 12 volts to activate the solenoid coming in from your key. The other side on the left's hooked to your battery. And then what you do on your starter solenoid is you connect this post. And that black wire used to run to this little screw or nut here, bolt. So that black wire runs up to the other solenoid now. So what I do is I take the little shim. When you get a starter, it comes with a couple shims. This is one of their little shims. And I hold it, I cut it the length with some 10 snips, and I hold it up on here and mark the holes and drill holes in it, and then kind of trim the sides on down. You got to be careful on this side. You don't want nothing sticking out and hitting anything else. But you just connect those two together before you put your starter on. That little shimmed plate's just behind, the nut and stuff. So when I put my starter on, the other cable will go on here. The other cable will go on the other end of the cable from the solenoid. The right side of the solenoid will go on here. And there is no other wire because these two are tagged together. It works great. I've never had a problem. Been doing it for like 25 years that way. It's a hell of a lot easier than messing with the other wire. A couple wires. I think my 73 had two other wires down there, along with the big battery cable. Just a pain in the butt. All the more shit to mess with. And then you're monkeying with them little 5/16 nuts, and they're on the other side, on the front of the motor. You can't see them. You're having to try to feel your way through your header and poop on all that stuff. Just move your solenoid up to the firewall, bottom left corner. Tag your other wire there that was down there with your starter. And then make sure you connect these two posts together. That's all you got to do. Bam. So just figured I'd pass that on. I've really enjoyed that. Like I said, I've done it to every Chevy I've had since I've learned how to do it, and it's just easier. It's the only way to put it. It's just easier, and I swear personally it throws a little more zap into the starter. But anyhow, I'm just passing that trick along as I'm going the other direction with this stuff. So everybody be safe.